Hey guys, Sean here. Welcome into Unpaved with Sean Salisbury. It is good to be with you, JB, on vacation. Just to set the tone for a couple more the next few days, Ricky Cobb on Thursday from Super 70 Sports. His Twitter handle is off the charts. If you like old school, but he's also got new school and everything in between. He's going to be great. We'll have a lot of laughs and get into him on Thursday. Tomorrow, the great Chipper Jones, one of the best we've ever had playing that position at third base, switch hitter. One of the all-time greats will be joining us tomorrow, 12 noon Central, 1 o'clock Eastern. Again, Ricky on Thursday. Then next Thursday, and there'll be a couple in between, but next Thursday, Colt Knost, the great CBS golf announcer with great sense of humor, great personality, but also was a great player early on in his amateur career. He really was. We'll get some great insight from him from out in Scottsdale and talk about the Ryder Cup, the choices that will and have been made, and then also we'll come back to this weekend and what's going to happen with the FedEx Cup Championship. He'll be able to review that as we get the results this weekend, and then kind of talk about the whole golf season and what the future holds. And him and I were texting back and forth yesterday and had some fun stuff about Scotty Scheffler as far as just the player and what he sees, and he'll bring something. So Colt Knost next Thursday. We'll get Ricky Cobb, Super Sports 70s, that Super Sports 70s, which is one of the great Twitter handles, one of my favorite. I look forward to it every day. Heck, I retweet his stuff more than I do my own. And then the fantastic Hall of Famer Chipper Jones will join us tomorrow. Hell, Chipper probably going to want to talk Pittsburgh Steelers and football more than he wants to talk baseball. And I'm going to want to talk more baseball and do football. So real quick before we get started on the football side, this baseball season's winding down, and there's a few teams. I mean, think about the 4 odds-on favorites now are all in the National League, and the choices are pretty simple when it comes to it. The Dodgers, the Milwaukee, in no order, Dodgers, Milwaukee, Brewers. The Brewers are friggin' on fire. Young, powerful, and veteran powerful arms. They're getting the most out of them, and they are having fun playing baseball, man. The Dodgers, well, we know about them. The Padres hanging around. The Dodgers get beat by Colorado in Colorado. Those are losses you just can't take. You, especially in a race like this, you can't. And I know it's pro baseball, and I know it's the major leagues, and I know it's a long effing season. I know all that. I get it. But it's a long one for everyone. And for the Dodgers in a tight race like this, and the other team's getting paid, but you know what? Not as much as you are the Dodgers can't lose games like that. And they sure as hell can't allow it to fester and go. I know everybody goes through them. The Astros are kicking rocks. We'll get to them. Detroit's went through in a 1-11 part of theirs. The Dodgers have had a couple stints, been through injuries. And the Padres are as dangerous as anybody. They just are. And they're playing free and easy, and this is going to be a hell of a race. So it's the Phillies, the Padres, the Dodgers, and the Milwaukee Brewers are the 4 World Series favorites to win it, all in the National League. And then you got the American League. Obviously, Detroit, Toronto are going to hover around there, and Detroit's arms. Which leads me to, this is no longer, well, it's a marathon season, rest, but you better be playing them every friggin' day. Okay, I understand the pitching in the bullpen. Hell, Chas McCormick in Houston, the bullpen is so spent. They've gotten beat 14-1. They've gotten beat 12-0. They've gotten beat 10-0 in like 3 of the last 4 or 5 games. The run discrepancy, they can't hit off a tee right now. And right now, if they fell off into a world, I mean, they've not fallen off into World Series, but if the Astros were in a boat and they landed in the water, they wouldn't hit it. That's how much struggle they're going through. With all the compliments I give them and well-deserved after the resilience and grit after all the injuries to be in first place by a game and a half. And Seattle's helping them. The Mariners sure as hell helping them with the way they played. They've had a chance to jump over and get rolling, and they've taken a step back. Fought back with Philly last night, but Philly answered again and got 4 more runs of their own late after a valiant effort. But valiant's just not enough. Grit and resilience are awesome, but production's better. And so you start to look around at some of these teams that the can'ts you can't have. You can't have mental lapses. You can't have base running errors. You can't have the errors in baseball games that cost you that are controllable, right? Just dumb decisions and being able to communicate on a pop fly that's in the short, out in the short part of the outfield. You can't have, you can't have Chas McCormick pitching 3 times in like 5 games or whatever. You just can't. You can't have it's becoming, his arm needs rest. He's gotten so much work from the bullpen. So Astros bullpen's spent. They have not hit well. I mean, they're getting curb stomped at the plate. And, well, quite frankly, Spencer Arrighetti has struggled. We're still trying to see if Christian Javier, who was, started to make his comeback in the major leagues with 3 innings and got sick, and so he had to miss. Hunter Brent Framber Valdez has been up and down. We know how good he is when he's on, but emotionally he becomes a wreck and gets emotionally tied into it, and it shows. And then you get their ace Hunter Brown, who just gets to draw Scooble tonight. And how about that? You're a team that's given up like 400 runs in 4 days, in 5 days, if you're the Astros, and hadn't scored a lick. Okay, it's talking, like I said, it looks like if the mercy rule existed, the Astros would have mercy ruled 3 times in the last 5 or 6 days. They got to get that fixed. So you start to look around at things that can't happen. If you're the Dodgers, you just can't go into Colorado and have a lapse. I know they're pros and they're getting paid, but these are the times you got to do it. And inevitably it ends up getting you when you get beat by teams that are supposed to beat you. I understand, or that they're competitive. I always compare it to golf, guys. You got to par the par 3s. That's when the Astros go play Detroit, or Detroit's playing the Astros, or when Toronto plays Detroit, or those are the par 3s. You got to par them because they're good. Once in a while, you'll come away with a birdie and beat them, or like the Detroit last night taking care of the Astros. But those good teams, you got to at least hit it on the green. You can't 3-putt or 4-putt and take a par or a bogey. You just can't. I mean, a bogey. If you get a birdie, great. Par 5s, you got to birdie them all. Colorado's a birdie hole for the Dodgers, and they double bogeyed it. You can't. I don't care what the score was with 4-3, I believe. You just can't go in there and double bogey it. You just can't. You got to make birdies. You can't even par a par 5. We're too close to the end of the season, inside of 40 games. These are the ones you definitely, when you got a 3-foot putt, you got to knock it in. You can't rim the cup and 3-putt from 3 feet and cause yourself problems. You just can't. The teams that don't do that, and those to be able to, the self-inflicted stuff that you get caught up in, first pitch chasing when you're down 3 runs, or you got runners at second and third, no outs, and you can't run them across the plate, can't drive them in, can't move them across. Runners left in scoring position. You have to. Milwaukee's doing damn near everything right. But I understand it's a long season. I do. I hear it all the time. But I can tell you what, you'll take 2-1 wins more than you will 9-7 losses, although right now 7 runs in Houston for them looks pretty damn good. I would guess that if you're trying to get healthy, doing it against Scoobles is not a really good thing, even with the great Hunter Brown on the mound. So you see how this goes? And you take teams like Baltimore lightly that, quite frankly, had phenomenal talent and still do, great young talent, struggled, fired their manager, have made changes, let guys go at the trade deadline. But right now they're playing on, what we got to lose, man? You already fired our manager early in the season. We're talented. They just roll up on you and bam. So they're going to disrupt the playoff picture for somebody. So I love this part of the season, but I am adamant against over rest at this time. The ball ain't heavy. I know it's a long season, but guess what? It's a sprint. You should be in a lineup card every day. If you got the flu, okay, I get it. If you're injured, yes. But if you're hurt and banged up, a little tired, hangnail, you got to pitch through it. And you got to hit through it. You just do. If you're 41 and need to skip a start as a pitcher, that I get. Rested bullpen, I get. I'm talking about everyday players. If I'm the Astros, Correa is not missing a start the rest of the game, season. He's just not. Jordan's got to get back and be healthy. If you're the Red Sox, guess what? Your stars are playing all the time. Bregman, they're playing. Okay, this is the time. It's sleep. We'll rest when the season's over. Everyday players. So it's got to be the Cal Ripken approach. That approach that, you know what, that when people are criticizing, think about this. We used to criticize people, did Cal Ripken for playing every day. He didn't need rest. He didn't want it. Okay, he wanted to play. That's what he got paid for. But I'm telling you right now, Milwaukee, all the Dodger, Padre, Philly talking. I love the Philly swagger, and they have this great flair for the moment. The Dodgers, loaded roster. The Padres, we talk about loaded rosters. Don't blink. That team, they're not exactly chopped liver, okay? And Detroit pitching and kind of scattered their hitters. They don't have 15 stars in their lineup, but damn, you'll get Torkelson delivering. You'll get Gleyber Torres delivering. They will find ways to get it done. I mean, they just do at the plate and surprise you. You don't have to have name value to be productive. And we know how good their pitching can be. Flaherty obviously showed that even though he's had a tough season, he's still capable of getting you 8 to 10 strikeouts and winning a game, which he did against the Astros last night. So you just bullpen save And you've got to get your boppers have to play well at this time. So we'll keep an eye on that, as you will too, and love this type of season. So let's get into football. But before we do, let's talk Spindle Tap. Spindle Tap Brewery and the mocktails, the beer. You can see behind me all the stuff. Let me just open it up. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to. Sorry about that. You okay? Sorry. I didn't mean to hurt my dog. Come here, buddy. Come here. Are you okay? I'm sorry. That's a 100-pound bully. That didn't feel well. I'm sorry, buddy. You okay? Yeah, that's what happens on live. Dogs matter. You're going to have to take a back seat for a second. I just moved my chair and it landed on. Come here, buddy. Kilo, you okay? Come here. Come here. Tell us. Say hi to everybody. Yeah, this is just live. Sometimes those things happen. Paul apologizes. I'm sorry. Everything's okay. There you go. He's all right. He's a 100-pounder. He's tougher than all of us. But as I was saying, and I didn't mean to run over him, thanks, Triple E, is we got the local, we got the light beer, the low-cal beer, you got the El Rancho mocktail, the Houston Hustle, which is a specialty, diamonds in the mouth. You got the Calvera lager. We got Mexican beer, all of it. Mocktails got they've got no sugar, no alcohol at all, but they are dynamic and awesome when it comes to shoulder surgery, having trouble sleeping. There's no the THC is Delta 9. THC Delta 9, deliver it right to your door. Whether you want the 5 milligram, as we see the El Grande, you can see the sign in the back, the ranch water. If you want the bigger one that's got 20 milligrams of Delta 9 THC, so you can vary it. The mocktails are off the charts. It's the best brewery on the planet. Great food. So when you come here, they've got a new, the new beer hall area. They've got pickleball courts now and wiffle ball. It is phenomenal. It's the best brewery in the state. I know there'll be argument, but not from me and from people that have been there. And we'll also get it to you. So if you get to spindletap.com, call my guy, Brody Chapman, who is the big boss and owns Spindletap, has done a great job of not only customer service, but with the beer master and the mocktails of creating something that's special. They are off the charts. Spindletap Brewery, spindletap.com, or call 713, as you see, 325-1477. I love the mocktails to relax, sit around. Football season, you want all that cold beer. I want a light beer, the low-cal beer. I want the Houston Hustle. And they keep pumping them out, not just seasonal, but, year-round. There is no better beer, in my opinion. If you like a double IPA, just an IPA, tall boy, small one, Delta 9 THC, no sugar, no alcohol in it, the best. And obviously, always want to tell you to make sure you do it within reason and make sure you're being smart when you drink. We know what that's out there. But also with the mocktails, you sit there and you need a good night's sleep. It's a good one to have. It's Spindletap. So grateful to be a member of the family, but Spindletap Brewery, Spindletap Beer, and all the great Spindletap products. And you can get them right there at spindletap.com, delivered right to your door, and we love it. All right, let's get to the NFL. There's things. Let me start with Cincinnati. It's on both sides of the ball. One is, okay, Zach Taylor, I've seen a friggin' enough. I understand, and JB have had this conversation. I'm old school. I liked to play in preseason games, just speaking for me. I did. And there was a time when guys would play 2 and 3 games and play a half and play, I have a preseason, play a lot. I'm talking about starters that matter for your team. They all matter, but that are going to be lining up and going, I get it. Times have changed. That's Captain Obvious statement. But we also get to a point when you know what a guy does want to get. Brady used to love. Manning and Brady used to take their snaps. They wanted them to get into a rhythm. But there also comes a point in time, less games, more emphasis on the practice field, more practices against the teams you're going to play against during the season, or, that are locally around you that you can get to and practice against them. I love those practices more than I do preseason games. I learn more about the players on the practice field and in the film room. I just do. And we'll talk about some of the decisions that are being made around the league here. But I've seen enough of Joe Burrow. I don't need him to. I know he slow starts. When I say I don't need him to play anymore. Damn near with a horse collar. Can you imagine losing Joe Burrow because you wanted him to get a rhythm? Sometimes you got to keep players away from themselves, right, to get in their own way. Now, I don't know the conversation with Joe and Zach, how it goes, but you want to get some work? Yeah, I'm going to give you some work. You let me know or what have you, because he's earned that right to kind of play it how he feels. They have always say it again. I'll look it up. Oh, yeah, Spindletap. Sorry, I just wanted to answer. I saw it. I didn't mean to get off the beaten path. They are always. It's important to quarterback. You want to get in rhythm, but they slow start. Burrow starts slow. The team starts slow. Hell, if they can get out of September at 500 or better, look out. Okay, look out, because offensively, I promise you, they are going to move the football and they are going to score. Right now is the way I look at it. They remind me, and I think I've mentioned this on maybe my local show, my USC Trojans. Score from anywhere. Hell, you can walk out into the parking lot and get off the team bus and start scoring from there. And they'll hang 35 on you. But the problem is you get beat by 38, give up 38, get beat by a field goal late. My USC Trojans, if they don't come up with something better defense and step up and take their game to a new level, getting Rob Ryan there, then Lincoln Riley's seat's going to get hot, regardless of what anybody says. And I love Lincoln, but they've got to play defense. It's the same thing here. Cincinnati Bengals, two things have kept them from being a Super Bowl champion, or at least contending every year. The one they got there, and they've been close. Well, three things. Slow starts. I stop the banter around this when we talk college and NFL. Oh, it's September. It's more important to play better later. Sure, you want to play great late in games, but if you're down 40 and play great in the fourth quarter, it doesn't matter. Just like in September. If you go 1-3 in September and you need 3 wins in December, it gets tougher. I'd rather start out quick and get teams that are coming out of training camp struggling, and you get them before they hit the ground running and play their best football. And then maybe you have a 2-game lead in December and you can rest somebody. I've never understood the philosophy of, it's early. They start slow, which means you go 1-3. Let's say you have to win 10 games, right? So we play 17 of them. You start out 1-3 in September. Okay, so what do we got? 13 left. So I got to get to 10. So now I got to go 9-4. Okay, I start out 3-1 in September. I got to get to 10 wins to make the playoffs. Let's just assume that's what it takes for the most part, right? Whether it's winning the division or wild card. I start out 3-1 in September. And I got to get 10 wins. Now I got to go, what's that? 4, we got 13. What's that left? 7-6? You tell me what sounds better. So this notion that, man, if you're good, you got to be great late in a game. Yeah, you got to be great late in a game when it's close and you got to win or close it out. But you don't have to be that great late in the game if you're up 28 or if you're down 30. Man, we were really good in the fourth quarter. We scored 2 touchdowns. What was the score going in the fourth quarter? 41-7. Same thing in the season. Hey, man, you started slow. You were 2-5 to start September and half of October. Yeah, man, we won 7 straight. Yeah, man, what a bummer. You had 9 wins, huh? Yeah. Did you miss the playoffs? Yeah, we lost the tiebreaker. The final wild card won 10 games. Stave it. I'm never buying in that September doesn't matter, or the first one or the second one or the 9th one. It matters. December doesn't mean a hill of beans. Doesn't mean it. It's like, think about a Ryder Cup coming up soon. If you're the last guy, or if you're let's say you want to play Scheffler, roll him out there in the head to head on the last day, and you've sewn it up. Well, Scheffler didn't get a chance to play because we already clinched it, which is fine. If he doesn't get a chance to play, boom, it's fine. Okay, we coasted to the win. But it's the opposite is true. Where are you going to put him where his performance matters? Okay, jump him out at first to get a 1-0 lead. I'm good with that. I'd rather have the 8-1 start and then come in and say, man, my anchor played great, but we didn't need his win, or we didn't have to. More importantly, here in football, September matters. And training camps are shorter and it's more sluggish. Obviously, it's at times hard to watch football early on because training camp's shorter. You don't get as much work. You don't tackle as much. You're not as physical because you're trying to get into it. Bam. September hits you like, man, we're 1-2. We're 1-3. So for the Cincinnati Bengals, get Burrow out, though. I don't need him on the playing one more snap of preseason. I don't need to risk it. As good as Jake Browning has been as a backup and done great things, I'm going to tell you now, no Burrow, you got no shot, especially with the other part we're going to talk about, the Cincinnati Bengals defense. You have 0. And I know that percentages say that you may have a 3% shot. I don't care what Vegas says in this case. If Joe Burrow is not playing for you on this current Cincinnati Bengals team, you could put your head between your legs and kiss your ass goodbye. You've got, if my aunt had balls, she'd be my uncle. Ain't happening. Okay. Now, you play good defense and Burrow's on the roster and you stay healthy. It's like shooting fish in a barrel. As you guys have heard me use over the years. I've never done it before, but it sure seems easy, right? So getting back to the things that prevent Cincinnati from being great. Slow starts. Then they got to make up for it and look great. Had they got in the playoffs last year, who knows? They were playing pretty damn good football. Slow starts. A defense that can't block me and you, or can't tackle me and you at times. And in the past, an offensive line that struggled as well. Those are the 3 things since they got to the Super Bowl, since Joe's been there, 3 different things that have struggled with. Defense, hence why they fired their defensive coordinator. offensive line, hence why they get beat in a Super Bowl. That's one big reason. And then finally, slow starts, which cause you to have to play great football. Wouldn't you like a 3-game lead or know you're getting into the playoffs with 2 games to go and then Burrow's got a little toe or a little elbow's bothering, you can rest him, or Jamar Chase is worn out and caught 8 million balls and you say, dude, we're going to play in a quarter and sit out. We'll see. We need the bye week. So I've seen enough. Enough. Okay? So no more Joe Burrow in the preseason. No more. Seen it. And I'm old school that says play him. But I've changed. And listen, when somebody tells me something better, I'll change. Now, Caleb Williams needed the work. He needs more work this week. Jaden Daniels, I've seen enough. Even though he's a second-year guy, I don't need much of him. I don't need much C.J. Stroud. Seen enough. I don't want to waste throws and plays and hits on a final preseason game that doesn't mean diddly squat. While the score doesn't matter, the game matters. It matters on that kid who's trying to make the roster. It matters on a little more rhythm. It matters for the play caller says, okay, what do I got here? What's my bandwidth? But Cincinnati Bengals, no Joe Burrow, no nothing. Okay? That's a fact. Well, they got Joe Burrow, but don't get him hurt in the preseason, please. We've also seen the movie when Burrow's not playing, like out for a season. That's not the immediate energy in that great city of Cincinnati and their fan base goes through the roof. I mean, out the window, done. And the same goes for the defensive side. Like I said, I don't need more of Burrow. I think I've seen enough in Burrow in big moments to know that if you've mentioned the top 3 quarterbacks in the world, if his name's not mentioned, then you probably haven't studied it enough, or you just don't like the Cincinnati Bengals or Joe Burrow or LSU, right? Okay, that's one. Now the other side, they can't win a Super Bowl on this side of the ball playing defense the way they do. Now, I've always been you try to keep your core players within reason. And at times you got to keep a core player even if it's unreasonable. And while Trey Hendrickson, their great pass rusher who's been as good as we've had rushing the passer consistently over the last handful of years, if he's not on this team, then you better prepare for a lot of offense, a lot of high-scoring games. Take the over in most Cincinnati Bengal games for you bettors, and I'm one of them. Take the over, and guess what? It doesn't matter who's playing. Take the over, and you'll get it. Burrow will still put up points. Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen will come to town, or whoever they're playing. They'll put up points. They'll get boat raced. They won't make the playoffs if their defense does. I mean, if Trey Hendrickson, if Joe Burrow gets hurt, they got no shot to make the playoffs. If Hendrickson's not out there, you greatly diminish your chances to be special. Now, does one guy on a defense mean the world? No, but it permeates through. It makes everybody better. Just like the quarterback on offense, who's a great leader and a difference maker, everybody's play elevates. And then the way offensive lines and coordinators call plays, that they, like we did when we played Reggie White or Lawrence Taylor, even Rod Woodson. You can remember plenty of times. We would game plan about how do we stay away from or attack this person that gives us the best chance, as opposed to those 3 Hall of Famers that I just mentioned that can wreck a game. And they could. And when you say Rod Woodson is a corner or safety, wreck a game, they bring him in on the slot. He'd wreck a game because he could run 4.3. He was big and physical. He could do it all. It didn't matter if you moved him to safety later in his career, played slot corner, played outside corner. You knew because he was a physical corner that could disrupt your ass. He is a different level. For my money, you'd be hard pressed. I'd take Rod Woodson over about. If I'm looking at my all-time, my 8 best DBs on the planet ever, 2 corners and 2 safeties, like my first and second team, Rod Woodson closer to the first team than he is the third team. That's how good he was. So you scheme. So that's what Trey Hendrickson would bring to them, aside from production. Potential is one thing. Potential gets coaches fired. The other P word's undefeated. The third P word's production. That's the one you got to have. Potential, good if it's met. Potential, love it. And the other P word that's undefeated that we joke about all the time, as well as Father Time. So you don't want to go through this. Trey Hendrickson probably made, in my mind, he made a couple extra $1 million and a couple extra years or whatever last night on his contract yearly. Just watching it. If you're the ownership of the Cincinnati Bengals, if you're Zach Taylor, if you didn't sprint up, I know it's preseason, but this is Groundhog Day for the Cincinnati Bengals. We've seen it. We have absolutely seen it with the Cincinnati Bengals. You're going to risk going into this over stuff. And I listen, I get that these rich guys make what's the difference in $3 or $4 million a year over 5 years, Sean? Well, $20 million. What's the difference for you if you're a doctor and you're the doctor, you're a surgeon at the Mayo Clinic or at Houston Memorial here, or Memorial Herman, should I say, and all of a sudden the chief of staff at Johns Hopkins retires and they call you up to go be the chief surgeon for $1 million a year more. Are you leaving? I would think you probably are. So that happens. And then sometimes you say, well, I got to overpay to keep because it makes a difference. Everybody gets better. And sometimes when you got it that bad, if you want to go where you're going, he absolutely has to be. So here's the deal. Look at this. Bengals asking for a young defensive player, a current player, and a 2026 first-round pick in exchange for Trey Hendrickson. So guess what? You're going to get rid of Trey Hendrickson or trade him if you do. And guess what you're going to do? Have to draft somebody to replace him. I've never understood it. You want to keep going young and keep going under rookie contracts. You're going to keep coming up short. Cincinnati Bengals have been known in the past for cheap as hell forever. Then they started to pay. Jamar Chase started to pay. 2 guys on offense. They did. Higgins has started to pay. Great. Okay, so you get to a point. So over the years, now you made the switch there. Don't stop there. Even if you have to overpay a little for a guy who's been a healthy, a consistent contributor, and a great Cincinnati Bengal, why? Why wouldn't you do it? Because if you're thinking I like rings more than money, because I would hope that most do. Now, you love your money, but you're at the stage now the money shouldn't be a factor. It's rings. And they don't have one. So why in the world would you say, you know what, even if we got to overpay a little or incentivize, whatever it might be to get Trey Hendrickson in the building, it makes you better. If he's out of the building, now you're hoping a young defensive player can fit in with scheme after the season's about to start, so didn't get any coaching or teaching on the mental side from that scheme. And then you got to hope that the draft pick, guess what that means, in 2026? If the Bengals are good and really good, that means it's going to be way down. So you're not getting Trey Hendrickson. Yet then you got to go find a way to replace him. I've never understood. So don't be cheap. Don't piss down your leg on this one. You've done it long enough. He didn't need a lot of reps during the preseason. Don't worry about that. But get him in there before the start, because if you're stuck in September, December is going to be brutal. And without Trey Hendrickson and playing, I'm not sure. Well, they're not going to beat the Ravens. The Ravens will. The Ravens are probably still the best team in the division, even with Trey Hendrickson. But you don't want a lightweight fighting heavyweights defensively when you get to this. And I got news for you. You get Trey Hendrickson, it at least makes you a light heavyweight or close defensively, and it makes you better. I've never understood the concept of haggling over a couple mil when it comes to billionaires. Sometimes I'm on the owner's side saying this guy's overrated and asking too much. Let him go. Player empowerment, screw it. Not in this case. He got richer last night. If the Bengals are smart, Zach Taylor should have blown the doors open on the owner of the Brown family and said, we have to pay him. We can't line up without him. You don't have to say that out loud because of the bargaining part, but in private, you should say it. And Trey Hendrickson should have been smiling ear to ear after what he saw last night. So that's it. And I think they get it done. I would not trade him for that. I just wouldn't, because I need him now. And you're getting the prime of Joe Burrow, the prime of Jamar Chase. Don't waste it. Don't be the team that looks pretty on SportsCenter highlights and we're talking about because you scored 40 but lost 44-40. Don't be that team. Because the Cincinnati Bengals got real potential. That's a hell of a division. Add Rodgers, Pittsburgh's better, you think. They're always going to compete. We know their toughness. The Cleveland Browns, if Flacco can stay upright and they can play defense, which that's what they do. Yeah, they played like that at times too, but that's what they do. Then maybe you can upset the apple cart, and then obviously the Bengals and Ravens at the top of this thing as well. So do me a favor, please. Here I am begging for Cincinnati. I don't have a skin in the game. But I do know this. Trey Hendrickson, at times you could take the under. Trey Hendrickson at times, not that they care, well, all of us do. And you Bengal fans, you deserve Trey Hendrickson on your roster. It's not worth it to get a young player in a draft pick, which could be a late draft pick, because depending on not only when I said how you play, no, it's not you, it's how the other team plays. But if you traded with Baltimore, which they're not going to trade in the division, or you got it backwards. Yeah, because the Bengals would be trading Hendrickson, and they're going to upgrade their playoff moves, right? That team's going to get better, and you're going to get the 2026. So if that team gets better, they're going to draft lower, right? I guess I did say that. Draft lower, and then all of a sudden you're picking 24th. If that team gets a good player like Trey Hendrickson, and you're picking 24th, then what? Was it worth it? They got better and became a playoff team. You got worse because you're trying to and then you got to draft a 2026 guy, and hopefully he's Trey Hendrickson, and then a young player still trying to figure out the scheme. Don't do it. Cincinnati Bengals, give yourself the best chance. Your fan base deserves it, and you've got a lot in the coffers for all the times you were cheap. Don't be cheap. Now, payroll goes up. Him, Chase, Higgins, Burrow. Yeah, That's called pro football and pro sports, and it's just the way it is. Whether you like the rich millionaires or not, don't feel sorry for the owners. They got the B word behind theirs. It's called billionaire. They can pay it. To the Colts, they made the right choice, you guys. I'm going to get a lot of argument on this. I don't care. Okay, we told you, JB and I told you Daniel Jones was going to start, and he should. Now, here's the argument, and I listen to both. If you can talk me into it, I'm in. It's not a matter of who I listen. I don't want to say the lesser of two evils, but that's basically what it is, right? Daniel Jones has had one really good season and a bunch up and down. Trey Richardson's shown flashes of brilliance, but a bunch of average to below average play. If you're asking me who's more spectacular, we know that answer. It's Richardson. There is no doubt it's Anthony Richardson. But when you talk about just has been in more games and has been a better player in his career, even though it's only year 3 for Richardson, it's Daniel Jones. Listen, Chris Ballard's job, I believe, is on the line. Maybe it isn't. Maybe he's safe, but it feels to me it's a hot seat, the general manager. If you're him and you're giving advice to Nick Sirianni, what advice? Shane Steichen. What advice are you giving Shane Steichen? Who gives us the best chance to win, right? Play that guy, because it does. And Shane Steichen's still got stuff to prove, right? He and Jonathan Gannon, who were on Sirianni's staff, have done pretty good jobs, but they're both in that year of Arizona expects to make a move. This team expects to make a move. But are they primed for it? Now, I still think they're going to struggle. And I heard one good analyst who was saying, well, there's more upside to it. And I like the analyst. It might have been my guy, Pete Prisco, might have. I like Pete. There's more upside with Anthony Richardson. Sure, he's younger a little bit. Find out what he can do. But we're in year 3. What do we mean find out what he can do? I know that there's guys who mature late. He was overdrafted. He was drafted on potential, not being a great quarterback at the time. There was great quarterback potential, all the physical attributes, and from all accounts, really smart, a football IQ guy, all that in Anthony Richardson. It just hasn't been the same for him yet. And he's had the same head coach in place now since he's been there. So I get it. But probably we could say it now, easy to say overreach now, but a lot of us thought he was extremely gifted, but just unpolished as a quarterback. Well, now we're in year 3, and does it say we're quitting on you because you're our top 5 pick and you're no longer playing? Sometimes you need it. It happened to, you know who else got benched? Obviously, it was Bryce Young. He didn't pout about it and came back, and I think he's primed for a better year now. And he got better last year and is well coached. Now, players around you matter too. But with Daniel Jones, Anthony Richardson, I understand there's more upside. And while Anthony Richardson's legs give you time to give you some extra when things aren't there, Daniel Jones isn't exactly slow. His straight line speed's pretty good. He can run the football, but he's a better passer. He is, and I know people, well, Sean, he doesn't. I'm talking about those two. I didn't say comparing him to Burrow or Brady or Mahomes. I said of those two, Daniel Jones is the better quarterback and the better passer today. So now you say, well, what about 3 years from now? 3 years from now, Chris Ballard and Shane Steichen won't have a job there. If you invest in somebody that doesn't give you the best chance to win. I don't care if it's a third-year guy. I don't care if you got egg on your face because you drafted in the top 5 and he hasn't performed as a quarterback. I don't care. I don't care. I'm not in the feel-good business when it comes. I'm in the winning business. And today, opening the season. Now, that may change in week 3. Daniel Jones is getting the season 1, game 1, or season 1 here in Indianapolis and game 1 start. If Daniel Jones pisses down his leg 2-3 games in a row, it won't be long. And that spark plug of people saying, let's get the talented kid in there and see if he can grow into it. Now, maybe that's what he needed. But sometimes taking a step back and observing, like he had to at times last year, and losing his job and Anthony Richardson and getting it back, or, a while back, and then come back, complete like 45, 48% of his passes last year. That's not NFL. That can't survive in a frat league. He's got to get better. Well, Sean, the players around, no, they've got good perimeter people. They got a running back that can run it. They got people. You can't listen. One eye closed. I can tell you right now, Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen are completing 48% with one eye closed. He's got to get better. So while I understand the upside Richardson brings, that keyword potential, if he doesn't get it, it will get his coach and general manager fired. It just will. Now, does that mean he can't play? No. Has he played well at all? Yeah. What's up, man? Triple A.
I actually found his response that he just said, if you want to hear that.
Anthony Richardson?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Anthony. Yes.
Let's hear it real quick. So it's you heard it just now. Let's hear what he had to say about losing the job to Daniel Jones.
Need to grow through.
You just got to respect the decision. They feel like he's a better fit for the team, better fit for the outcome of us winning. So you just got to respect it and just keep working. That doesn't undermine any other work I've been putting in. Doesn't say that I haven't improved. I'm proud of the improvement I've made. Shane is also proud of that. So you just got to keep stacking on that. Just keep getting better.
You say you were.
That's the answer. Great answer. How can you not like that? Now he said it, and I believe he believes it too. Listen, the great thing about it, he's young. He's a kid. He's in his third year. Well, we don't have to. He's not buried. His career's not over. Now, I don't know deep down because we're not talking to him if they've quit on him. Oh, by not starting him and saying, Dan, it's a demotion. There's no doubt it's a demotion. Went out and got him for a 1-year deal, $14 million. He didn't play in Minnesota, and you got him, and you're going to end up getting a compensatory possible, depending on the minutes now. Vikings are going to grab, a 4th-round pick if he plays a certain amount of snaps or plays this year. So win for the Vikings. He wasn't going to play in Minnesota. Daniel Jones wasn't. Love the answer by Anthony Richardson. I love the ability of Anthony Richardson. I do. Listen, we would kill to have his ability, no doubt. But listen, you got to play every day. You got to prepare right every day. And then now Anthony Richardson still needs to prepare like he's the starter, because inevitably it's weird. It will find you. A rookie shortstop, 9th inning, ground ball, guess what? It finds you. It doesn't find the veteran Gold Glover at second. It finds the rookie shortstop who's scared to death that he took over for a veteran who went off on free agency. Is he going to make a play under pressure? The ball will find you, just like this. If you're not prepared, it's weird how, man, I'm not sure I'm prepared. It's weird how, oh my gosh, the first and second guy or the first guy got hurt. And I'm going to tell you a story real quick, and I'm going to leave his name out. A good friend of mine who played in the NFL and was a good player and was a really good college player, played quarterback. He got drafted by a team high. He was the 3rd quarterback going in. That was when veterans were playing, rookies. There was no rush, right? Unless your name's John Elway and they put you in, or Danny Marino, right? In that 83 class. But he told me years later, he said, Sean, I didn't take it serious. I was a rookie. I knew I wasn't going to play. He said he was fat catting, drinking some beer, didn't study. Wasn't studying. And smart, high football IQ. So he'd have been a quick study when he did, but high football IQ. First one gets hurt, second one gets hurt immediately. They got to throw him in. He's not ready. He doesn't know what he's doing. And so he evolved into it. But talk about the scary, think about times you've been unprepared in your life for anything, how frightening it is. And then it's your job on the line. Yeah. And he got it settled. But I found that really interesting story. So if you're Anthony Richardson and haven't been a backup and a starter at times for me, you're prepared like it, because inevitably it will find you. I'd put some packages in for him. Hell, I don't want that great physical skill to disappear. Get him down there, some packages, keep him involved and engaged. I don't want to lose him. Now, if you lose him by benching him, you lose him and he loses his confidence by getting benched, then the truth of the matter is that he wasn't the type of player you expected him when you drafted him there anyway. I need a guy who's mentally and emotionally tough and willing to fight it and say just what he said and now go to work. Because if you lose him, he'll end up becoming a journeyman. Because if he doesn't want to fight the adverse, what a talent. Didn't start a lot of football but in college, but what a talent in Florida, right? Some of the amazing plays. Okay, so you've had some ups and downs. Get in line. Aikman went through it. Hell, Drew Brees was good in San Diego. They traded him away because went and got Phillip Rivers. I mean, Brady wasn't even the starter. Think if Brady wasn't prepared when Bledsoe got hurt. Think about that. Would have been easy not to. Let me tell you something. If you put it in just straight throwing the football contest, Drew Bledsoe, he ain't taking a backseat to Brady. And I think Brady's the greatest player of all time, not just quarterback. He ain't taking a backseat to Brady. Drew Bledsoe could spin it as good as anybody in the league. He gets hurt. What if Brady's not ready? He just said, I ain't going to play. Bledsoe's got Hall of Fame arm, man, and he's a hell of a player and beloved. I watched him when we played against him, Drew, in Foxborough, the old stadium. He threw a party on us, so our defense was loaded. He hung about 420, 430 on us in Foxborough. I sat back there and watched, and like, damn, he couldn't miss. It was phenomenal. It was Robert, the running back, the rookie year. He went off. So Bledsoe had taken back seat anyway. He got hurt. Brady was prepared, unfortunately, for Drew, but Drew handled like a pro. But can you imagine if Brady wasn't prepared? I'm not comparing Brady and Anthony Richardson, but situations are similar. None of us knew Brady was going to do that. And we don't know what's going to happen with Anthony Richardson. The early returns are, you know what? Early returns are Anthony Richardson's got a lot of work to do. And a 50% completion guy can't last in the league. But if he can get it fixed and get coached right, mechanics, and be sound and stay healthy, you got something there. Because if not, if you didn't think you had something, you'd just cut him and admit your losses. And I know you got to cover your own ass because you just drafted him in the first round, high pick a few years ago. But you know what? Cut your losses, move on. But you know what? If you're not going to do that, then keep him engaged. Daniel Jones does give the Indianapolis Colts the best chance to win in a division that the Texans should curb stomp. Okay, I know Jacksonville, you don't want to hear it. You got a rookie coach, you got a long way to go, and you need a quarterback. Trevor Lawrence got to elevate. Cam Ward's a ways away, but boy, he's got some potential. There's a lot of potential in the division, production, and you're going to face one of the best defenses. That if the Texans don't curb stomp the division, at least on paper, then the quarterbacks on those other teams have played well and kept them in it. So Daniel Jones is the best person for the position now. Now he's got to go play because he hasn't earned the right. He had to go earn it. I'm not giving him the job. He's had some ups and downs in his career too. And don't kid yourself. He knows what adversity is like because they torched him in New York. So not rushing the process. Well, and let's see, that mistake cost him. As long as the ninth-year GM is still here, he's adamant not to repeat it. Well, the process of the Colts, you better win. What do you mean? I've never understood that. The Colts, don't tell me the Colts are in a rebuilding situation. I don't want to hear that. Neither does Shane Steichen. Okay. I don't. So Chris Ballard's on he's had some good times and some tough times in his career. This is one where his seat's as warm as it gets, in my opinion, as a general manager. And so if that's the case, they're putting their hopes on Daniel Jones. But Anthony Richardson, stay ready. And that's a great answer, young man. I hope that you hate the decision. I hope you disagree with it. And it's okay to let people know that. You don't have to sit back and say, yep, nope, he's better. He doesn't think he's better. That's okay. But you do got to respect the decision and go forward, or it will affect and the collateral damage to your career going down the road. Then you got to gain trust from teams, and you'll end up playing for 4 teams in 5 years. But even then, ask Geno Smith, ask Sam Darnold how that looked. So don't quit on Anthony Richardson. But you Colts fans, the best chance you have to win today and in week 1 is Daniel Jones. But that leash cannot be that long. And Anthony Richardson, a chance will present itself another time. All right, to the Dallas Cowboys and Micah Parsons. When I continue to hear, we talk about it a lot. You can't do it. I know JV and I've had the conversation. He doesn't play the run. Listen, there's very few dominant pass rushers who also dominate in the run game. Hard to find. We're in such a time of specialization, that if you can rush the passer and get 15 sacks, you do care, but deep down in those meetings, can he get to the quarterback and can he disrupt and wreck a game? Yeah, but he's not good in the run game. And tell me the last time a guy that when we're hearing about contract negotiations on an edge rusher that we say, how many tackles did he have when they're negotiating? You don't ever hear that. How many sacks did he have? How many pressures? That's what you always hear. Now, as a guy, defensive coordinator would love it if all 11 could stop the run. But what do you say about corners? Man, the corners, it's important for them to get involved in the run defense. I remember Antoine Winfield was a bad man now, undersized and knocked your dick right in the dirt. These corners, Rod Woodson, as I told you about, that when Charles Woodson started out there and moved, Charles come up and hit you right in the mouth. So a corner that can play the run, Stingley plays the run pretty damn good. Physical, long, get in there, and that matters. But in truth, when a corner, Sauce Gardner, Stingley get paid, what do we always say? How much they give up, how many interceptions they get, the stats. It's the same thing in edge rusher. So as much as I'd love to say Micah Parsons is going to dominate the run game, the Dallas Cowboys want him to disrupt in the backfield, force coordinators to change their game plan and their protections, and disrupt and go destroy the quarterback and destroy the backfield. That's why you're paying him when you do. And if you don't, Jerry probably 15, 20, 30 times over should have fired himself as the GM, and I love the marketer. I don't like the GM. I think it's going to get done. That's just my opinion. Why would you trade him? Again, now, when I say about he and Trey Hendrickson, it's like, well, Sean, don't you want to trade anybody? You damn right I do. There's a lot of guys you like to move around to. But there's also certain things when you look at the body of work and the teams that they're on, in particular, the Cowboys and the Bengals. Cowboys got some names on defense, but this name is the name, but he's not just a name. He's a productive player. Sometimes you got to overpay. We overpay quarterbacks all the time. All the time. We overpay plenty of quarterbacks and underpay plenty as well. I'm not getting anybody's wallet, but by the standard, we overpay them. I think there's people out there that wonder if Tua or Dak Prescott or Purdy were worth their money. I get it. But you know what? Purdy's got an argument. He's been in a Super Bowl and had a team on the cusp of another one if he doesn't get hurt in that game against Philly, although I'm not sure they'd won the game. Yeah, I mean, so these guys, Dak hasn't been to one, but Dak's put up productive numbers, but there's still another step to his game. So speaking to those Cowboys, Dak's got to have an MVP year. Their offensive line, the Cowboys are at their best when their offensive line is kicking ass. We've known that over the years. Ask Troy and Emmett about that, and Mike. And now look at this time. When their offensive line's not good, they're just, even with all the talent on offense and in the passing game, it won't matter. And on defense, while they've got names, they've been banged up. They lost, a couple of years ago in Dan Quinn. They've got a new head coach. They're coordinating. I mean, there's a lot of changes. So with that, you're going to have guys elevate and have career years. So don't you want Micah Parsons there? I don't think Jerry's planning on trading him. Now, if somebody came and offered 3 or 4 first rounders, that kind of haul, I guess. But why would you do it in the NFC, number one? The talk of the Green Bay Packers. I know, listen, if they say Micah Parsons up and forbid, you tell us what you got on, I got 3 first rounders. I'll see and raise you 3 first rounders or 2 first rounders in a second and a conditional third. You get my point. But once again, what do the Cowboys have to do if they lose him? Replace him. And this is, I saw Troy's earlier as well. What's his leverage? His leverage is they can't win without him. Isn't that a common theme? The defense in Cincinnati can't win and can't be consistently good without Trey Hendrickson. And Troy is 100. Thanks, RJ Ochoa. Great stuff. Troy Aikman, you absolutely, he's spot on. Troy watches the game close. Who's closer to the Cowboys than Aikman? Hell, I think somebody aligned. If the Cowboys were smart, I would maybe invite Aikman to sit in on my general manager's meetings if I was, because I know he'd love to do it. If I was Troy, even though he's got a great gig in broadcasting, Troy loves football, and he loves this part of it like Elway did. I mean, they love it. Jerry should probably take some insight from them. Core players, you can't keep losing core players or retirement to offensive line, injuries, trade, money. You can't lose core players consistently and keep winning. You just can't. That's the aberration, not the norm. You got to pay Micah Parsons, even though he's more than he's a. When I say one dimensional, it's not fair. He's got great energy. The one dimension, I mean, a run pass. He's not great against the run. Reggie White was great at both, but he was an interior guy. J.J. Watt could play inside and outside. Lawrence Taylor, outside guy. A lot of these guys we talk about, do they play both? If you're an elite pass rusher, guess what happens? You're always thinking quarterback, so you're going to get beat in the run game, but you still got to be formidable when you know it's the run game. You got to be able to, bam, gear up and deal with the right tackle or the left tackle and get physical so somebody else can get in there and make a play. You got to at least be formidable. You don't have to be the best. But we're still paying edge rushers to do that. Go disrupt. Think about when Jadeveon Clowney was drafted as the first pick. What did everybody say? The guy's going to disrupt the league. Take you back to the bowl game when he made the tackle. I think it was against Michigan in the backfield, disrupt the league. Now, he came in and played some solid football, but you could say he didn't achieve all the things he wanted. Why? Because the numbers and the sack numbers, I'm not sure, maybe one time, if any, did he ever get double digits in a single season? Has he ever had double digits in a single season in sacks? But one thing I know, and this is, and we don't talk about him as much. Why? Because the sacks weren't there. One thing I've known about Jadeveon Clowney, whether you consider him a disappointment or not, and many do, some don't, because he didn't have the sack numbers or hasn't had the sack numbers in his career. Why? His run game disruption was elite. But we don't usually talk about that. But defensive coordinators are begging for it. In Micah Parsons' case, when you're that good a pass rusher, we overlook your skill to play in the run. He's undersized, a little lighter in the ass than a 320-pound, 330-pound tackle or somebody coming out on the edge, even tight ends. But he's explosive and he's talented. You cannot win without him. I would argue now on this team, now that the backup's not there, I would argue that Micah Parsons is every bit, if not more valuable on defense than the quarterback is for the Cowboys on offense. And that's saying something because we know how important that position is. You can't win. You cannot win, I don't think, on a defense on the Cowboys that's trying to get to another level and has to deal with a Philadelphia offense that has to deal with what we perceived as maybe an improved Giants team, maybe. And Washington's real. Washington is real, so you're going to have to deal with that as well. And Jaden Daniels is, if you're not already talking about him as a top 10 guy, if he repeats what he did last year and even gets better, we're looking at a unique player, man. So if you're the Cowboys, look at your division and come tell me that it's okay to play without the guy that if you trade him, you're going to have to go out and find a guy to replace him. And always saying, well, we want to be we want to have the rookie under that. Yeah, well, not all rookies come in and disrupt the league like this cat did. The Cowboys got to pay him, and they're going to pay him. I believe both Trey Hendrickson and Micah Parsons will be on their roster starting in week 1, and we'll get close to with new contracts. I don't believe we're for sure getting out of September, and I don't believe deep down either franchise wants to pay him. Jerry just loves us talking about him. I actually think Jerry's probably got numbers on a paper way to do it, doesn't want to have Micah Parsons wear himself out, and wants to have that when everything's said and done and cuts are over, the big hug for the media and go on TV and talk about it. Jerry loves this chaos. I almost feel like it's a planned chaos. Just for me, not Micah's side, but Jerry, I do believe that. There you go, 13 and a half, 14, 12. And he's missed part of those seasons. Yeah, so I get the argument both ways. You got to pay him. All right, let me end with these 3 things, and they're short. I just, you go across it. First off, I don't pay much attention to these. I don't. The reason why I know what they say is because people will say, Sean, did you see this clip? Or did you watch what this guy said about this? And did you see what somebody said about this? And I'll go back and watch them. I don't watch studio shows anymore. Sports Center at times, now that Rich Eisen's going back, I love to see Rich, right? Love him, and congratulations to you, Rich, not only with what you're doing, but your NFL stuff and getting back on Sports Center, all that. I love it. And he's a guy I grew with there at ESPN, and I'm a big fan of him and his wife, and it's good. It makes at least me get a little feel for the old ESPN. Loved it. So I'm really happy for my guy, Rich Eisen. So, but with that you get clips sent to you. I think Monica McNutt, I think's her name. You can't do that. You can't have a Shedeur Sanders jersey, or at least you think it's Shedeur Sanders jersey and Barry Sanders jersey on Drewski. We talked about it a little bit yesterday. And be a host that you're looking. It's tough enough on women broadcasters for people to give them the respect that some deserve, like Susie Colbert, Linda Cohn, people I've worked with that I've mentioned. There's some good ones. There really is. But it's hard. We make it double time for them. We just do. For whatever reason, well, because they're women and they're talking football, they want to say, prove your credibility to us. And the way to lose it instantly and to lose in that building where people look around saying, you're going to give promotions and all that to somebody who doesn't know the difference between a Shedeur Sanders. If you would have said this was a Dallas Cowboy jersey and say, well, who's that Sanders? That looks like a cow. That's clearly a Detroit Lions jersey. But even if you mess that up as a fan from a distance, sitting in studio and then going into Shedeur, like you're ready, you got the question you want to do it. I don't know Monica McNutt. I don't know anything about her. I just know this. You can't do it. I couldn't do it. You couldn't do it. You shouldn't be able to, and you lose instant credibility at a time when when women are grasping so hard to gain it and prove, and we get them all over. Women are on everything: men's shows, women's shows, games, analysts, play-by-play, studio stuff. Whether you like it or not, they are, and they're all over at ESPN. And I was there 12 years, and I work with some of the best in the world. And I thought I'll put those arrows up against any arrow on the planet when it comes to doing it right at that time. I just will. From 96 to 2008. I was fortunate. I was around the best in the world. I'm not putting myself in it. I hold my own, trust me. I don't take a backseat to any of them. But when it comes to, I was around the Dan Patricks and Stuart Scotts and Kenny Maynes, the very best in the world. And the Mark Malones and Trey Wingles and Mark Schlereth and Michael Irvin was there. Merrill Hodge, Ron Jaworski, great ones that they're not making that mistake. Well, Sean, she's a female. We're at the point, I don't care. See, it doesn't matter if we're at the point, you're talking football, the female, male, gender, you don't want us to look at gender when it comes to hiring people or race or color, or religion or any of it. And females do have to, when it comes to this, you're going to make a female umpire work harder because you wonder about the credibility. Whether it's fair or not, it's just perception is reality here when it comes to, they're going to be judged harder. So you can't make it. The truth is, Dan Orlovsky probably could have got away with it. Why? Because he's a football guy that made it, and people would have thought he was joking. She wasn't joking, and you just can't miss it. You just can't. And especially if it was a 12 Browns jersey and I was on the set and you say, well, Sean, of course nobody knows me. I get that mistake on my jersey to Shedeur Sanders, not Barry Sanders. And in order to be an expert at something, you got to have a little bit of history. And unfortunately, you're starting to move up. You think, man, I'm hosting a show. I'm sitting here with Stephen A. Smith and Get Up, and I got Drewski on there, and we're going to have some fun. And then that happens. How are you supposed to listen to the rest and say, the rest, yeah. That's I get it. The rest is we're supposed to listen to now. The problem is now she's going to have to battle in-house and out-of-house when she says something. Is that right? I feel bad, but you just can't. You can't mispronounce names, and you can't. And if you do, you just got to say, oh, my bad before, but you can't. That can't happen. That's one. Two is I'm just curious. Are we really at the point in our society to where if you retweet a post that talks about God or religion, saying you're a Christian, that you live for God or you live for the Lord and that you're a Christ follower, and Lamar Jackson retweets it, that people are mad and it becomes, I didn't know that only Christians were MAGA. When did political beliefs or race have anything to do with what church you go to, what God you worship? Charlie Kirk put it up there, Charlie Kirk, and maybe it's the fact that because it's a conservative and a guy who's a conservative and gets into it, and people have the MAGA on him, that all of a sudden it's all about Jesus, and Lamar reposted it. And so explain to me, it's all about Jesus. Oh, so if it would have come from a non-MAGA, it would have been okay. If Hillary Clinton put it up, would we have applauded it? Yeah. It's all about Jesus. And then, so he can retweet that. Society, we are pathetic. We are. The fact that Lamar Jackson, in his life, Jesus matters. It doesn't mind. If you're not going to church, I'm not judging you. If you repost something, I don't care who it comes from. If it has to do with God, kids, safety, and it's all and animal safety, I'm all for it. I don't care how you grew up. I don't care what the color of your skin is. I don't care any of that. Nor do I care who you voted for when it comes to Jesus. The only reason people are mad at Lamar Jackson, the ones that are, first of all, stop the fake outrage. Secondly, be careful. Don't get struck by lightning because you're mocking Jesus because it was a Republican or a MAGA, Charlie Kirk, who put it up, as opposed to, if Tim Walsh puts it up, we're good. Kamala Harris puts it up, you're good. It's only because it's somebody who voted for Trump and is a MAGA that you're doing it. When were you there? I don't really care. I don't care if Harry Hatchetass posted that he is a supporter of Jesus. If I want to repost it and you don't like it, why are we really there? So wait a minute. Josh Allen says that when Hamlin died on the field and was resuscitated, that Jesus, I was reading it today, that's when Jesus became real big in his life. And I'm paraphrasing that part of it. But he mentioned the phrase Christ. It was either Christ or Jesus. I don't hear a lot of backlash. Why? Oh, it's because it wasn't posted by somebody, whether it's Republican or Democrat, that you disagree with. And Republicans, you better guard against that too. If it's somebody who says that and Jesus in their life, the snide comments are, it's somebody who Christ is important to Lamar Jackson. And the fact that we're judging him because of the fact that somebody else was a MAGA. There you go with Josh Allen. God is real. So that it wasn't put up by a Republican or Democrat, so either side you sit on, you're not going to hammer him, nor should you. And nor should you be hammering Lamar Jackson. The color of your skin, who you voted for when you pull that curtain back, if you stand up to go to the restroom or sit down to go to the restroom. I'm not sure that has anything to do with if I love Jesus, why in the world do we want to be critical of that? We're at that point now. So if you're a Christ follower, it's okay unless you're a Christ follower that retweeted or reposted somebody from an opposite of the way you voted. So it's a bad guy. Yeah, because all of a sudden now, here's how it works. Oh, he loves Jesus, but Charlie Kirk, he's a Trump guy. Oh, Trump, yeah, nope. I'm going to make fun of him. I'm going to mock him. How dare you repost something that led its way in 6 degrees of separation back to Trump? So all of a sudden, now Lamar is doing somersaults for Trump. It's embarrassing, okay? It's embarrassing. Stop it. And it's not on Lamar. It's on you guys out there that did this, that put it. It's you know what? You're a friggin' nut job and need to get off social media if Lamar Jackson can't repost something about Christ. I'm not even sure Lamar Jackson cares who posted it. And neither would I. Quite frankly, we need more Jesus. I know I do. And you probably do too. A little more Jesus in our life, okay? In communities, in prayer, in schools. We need more of it and more of him, okay? And this ain't a religious sermon because I don't care. But you know what? I don't care who you voted for. If you're suffering and need Christ in your life or what have you, then guess what? God bless you, man. And if you don't go to church, or don't believe in, that's on you too. We all have it. But I'm sure as hell not judging my post by who posted it when it comes to religion, race, gender, or politics. I can disagree with your politics, but if you're a Christ follower, I'm not berating you for that. It's embarrassing. So stop it. Okay? It's shameful. And then finally, last, and this is one I understand the reason, but I don't get it. When I see in the back of end zones, they're continuing to end racism. Loved Triple E, if you can find that, the NFL's, the end zone signs they put up, you get to choose from 1 or 6 or 7. And I honestly, as a former player and a guy who watches it and a guy who loves football and division, we have it all over, right? Man, it's enough. We don't need to create it. And I know that the message isn't to create it, but I think division is created when you're telling somebody how they have to look at something. You don't go into a stadium and tell a guy you have to drink this beer if they don't drink. You go into a stadium. I believe the message is pretty clear when you tell us. I'd like to think that everyone and anybody who knows, hey, see, even my dogs know, hey, settle. Even my dogs know that the message here. So what do we got here? Stop hate, end racism, choose love, inspire change. It takes all of us. Now, I think you'd have to be a real bonehead and living in a bubble or 6 feet under not to understand any of these 5. I don't know. People who completely hate everything, and the message, they're going to hate it no matter if there was or wasn't a message. End racism, the love, all those things. I just ask, isn't that obvious to us? I know everybody doesn't put it into play, but is the back of the end zone when it says end racism or, includes whatever those signs, whatever you got painted on the back of your end zone. Is that really what you needed? If that sign is what you needed to end, if you got race issues and that sign is what you needed to, I'm not racist anymore, then you got a real problem. Then you got to check the DNA in the veins. Because if I need that sign right there to tell me that, and one other thing, let me tell you where the greatest mosh pit of no race judgment is in the world, from my view, is in NFL locker rooms. In locker rooms, probably all around, but football was my sport, is in locker rooms. Now, I want you to think about that. You're putting the sign up, it's not for the players, it's for the fans. Yeah, then you get a fan who says, they're putting that up, and it's virtue signaling. And I do believe it's just NFL optics. Because in locker rooms, the black wide receiver, the black quarterback doesn't hate the white receiver because, they don't come from the same culture. No, what we do in there, we just embrace and love each other. You're going to run into locker rooms where guys have fights and they may disagree with religion, but that's called banter and conversation, right? But in locker rooms, I've never been in a locker room where a guy dropped a racial slur or dropped another slur about some guy's what, and they got into a fight in there on the same team. I've never seen it before. It never comes up. Why? Because we don't believe it doesn't exist. Because we grew up with all different races, religious guys. It never mattered. And by that, it's a romantic. We got to end racism. Oh, cool. Now walking like, hey, fellas, did you know? Hey, man, hey, Hunter Renfro or hey, Jamar Chase, you got Joe Burrow throwing to you. I know you LSU together, but man, this white boy's got to have a sign on the back of the end zone. Are we serious? And if you're a fan of the stands going to watch the mix of athletes and religions and races play, do you really need to remind me it's about love? Well, no shit. Okay, so to me, it seems like we should all know this, that it's obvious, and that if you're not part of understanding this beforehand, that's a you problem you need to get fixed, not an overall. The painted picture that the media, mainstream, and Twitter and social media posts, that ain't what's going on in the places I've been in locker rooms or the people I've been around. So I know it's not for the players. The players don't need a reminder, and it shouldn't be for us. It should be fairly obvious. I shouldn't need to tap you on the shoulder. So this to me is a simple NFL. It's a virtue signal, and it is simply the optics of, hey, did you know we're gonna? No kidding, no kidding. Okay, now I want the next list of end abuse, child abuse, animal abuse. I want end beating up on your wife or your significant other, domestic violence. I want that in the back of it. No domestic violence. I want no shooting somebody, no taking a gun into a club, no doing drugs, no smoking weed. Well, first off, no doing blow. Okay, see, those are all things that affect society that we should all know. But the guy who's doing cocaine doesn't really give a rat's ass about your message in the back of an end zone. He's going to do it anyway. If I write something on a paper and say, hey, man, I need $1 million loan, here you go, and give it to a buddy, he may say, man, Sean, you get the loan. I ain't got $1 million. But I'm good. If I did have it, we'll talk. Then we're going to go through like you would a bank. I don't need reminded, and neither do you, or you shouldn't, what's going on there. And if you do, then give me a list of 50 things that our country sucks at that we got to get better at. Not just the country, but individuals. Because overall, the picture that's painted ain't the picture that I see normally. Now, it's the picture that's sure getting painted all the way around in this country. We see it too often. The reminder is just, so end racism. So, yes, every single where we go, we have a race problem. You know, the one place we don't have a race problem? On an NFL football field. If you got it in your house, if you got it in your home, if you got it with your friends, if you got it in your job, then you take care of it there. I don't know. Are they painting signs up above the desk in the NFL offices? Maybe they are. Is there a big sign that says what they have in the back of the end zone above Roger Goodell's desk? I don't know. I mean, you don't need to put it on mine because guess what? Black, white, race, religion, Mormon, Catholic, Jewish, Protestant, I don't care. If I like a good book, I'm going to read it. And even if it's not a religion I believe in, like you went to school and said, like I learned something about it, so I'm not ignorant to it. Okay. The ignorance is that we think we have to post this for good people, and good people believe in good things. The ignorance is we got to post this. The good people know that all those signs and a million others could belong on the sidelines, anything, and wear it on a doggone wristband. So the things that we do and the things that we don't do are absolutely baffling to me. Well, I'll end on a good note. The one thing we do is that we got football season, college next week, and all the way through until February. So it's awesome. So while all this goes on, the good stuff that you want. I know if you're a Bengals fan, you're begging for Trey Hendrickson to give you a chance. If you're the Colts fan, some of you are like, do we have the best guy? If you're in Cleveland, you're wondering if Flacco's going to make it happen. If you're in Miami, is Mike McDaniel actually going to get us to another level? If you're New England, man, Mike Vrabel, where's Drake May? If you're the Cowboys, we got to have Micah Parsons, and will Dak elevate to the next level? If you're Buffalo, is this your year? If you're the USC Trojans, can you play defense? If you're Cade Klubnik, is Clemson's year again to win another national championship? Is LSU got 4 million more wide receivers? And how are they going to elevate with Doug Nussmeier coming back? Man, Lane Kiffin losing Jackson Dart. Is Jackson Dart going to actually beat out Russ Wilson? All these great things that give us stuff to banter about, and we get it right here. Yeah, end ignorance would be great. Or how about, I got one more in the back of the end zone, JDJR9. How about common sense? Just stick that in the back of every end zone. Hey, approach your days with common sense. And you know what common sense says? Racism shouldn't exist. I know it does. I'm not naive, but in common sense covers it all. Hey, man, did you know that you're not supposed to be racist? I absolutely did. That sign isn't doing anything. It's a simple virtue signal. So, but the good stuff is, man, you get barbecues in the backyard, you get TVs on, you get people over, you get cold drink, you get spindle tap beer, all those things. I'm a glass half full guy most of the time. And more as I go on and see this, common sense, while we talk about not so common, all the things we need in life and want in life, if we can just find common sense again, you people on the outside will get back to understanding that in locker rooms, there's a lot more common sense that exists, and there's a lot better family atmosphere that exists in locker rooms than outside them. Maybe we should all take note. That's Unpaved. We'll be back tomorrow. Chipper Jones, you do not want to miss this. He'll be live tomorrow at 12 Central, 1 o'clock Eastern. We'll talk to the great Chipper Jones. And don't worry, we'll get a lot of football in, because I'm pretty sure it's the Florida Gators that Chipper's a big fan of, and the Pittsburgh Steelers, yet he's an Atlanta Braves. So it's going to be lit tomorrow, followed by Ricky Cobb the next day of that Super 70 show. A lot of us, they got such great stuff. He's hilarious. And then next week, Colt Knost, we'll be talking about Ryder Cup. He's CBS broadcaster and golf course announcer, and a golf announcer, and he is off the charts. And you guys are off the charts. Thanks for being here today, man. You know, I don't ever take this for granted. I know I say it, I don't. I love what I get to do. I don't take it for granted. And I'm sure you guys love what you do, but don't take it for granted. And another thing is, we got football coming up, so we're going to get so much banter. We're not going to – an hour ain't going to be enough 5 days a week. But we'll find a way to make it enough. We appreciate you guys. Thanks so much for tuning in. It's Unpaved. Let your friends know. And we'll see you guys tomorrow right here. Rumble Unpaved along with Triple E. I'm Sean. We'll see you tomorrow.